Well, here we are. Chapter 3 and my predictions have still yet to pan out. Of course, it's not like I'm wrong or anything. It's just that the story hasn't progressed far enough for me to be proven right about everything. Despite that fact, I come bearing even more predictions, the likes of which the JoJo community has never seen. Ask yourself, what do volcanic rock, diamonds, and polyhedrons have in common? Make sure to stay tuned to find out. I mean, this is also supposed to be a review, so I gotta do things in order. We start things off with Jodio scouting out around Rohan in the pool, doing his job as lookout pretty well. Basically all he's tasked with is keeping an eye on Rohan's movements and reporting back to the team if anything goes awry, which we all know already happens.
What the fuck, is that a fucking cat?
At least we get to know Jodio is a huge Rohan fan, and Pink Dark Boy being here lends credence to the theory that Rohan is a universal constant throughout JoJo media. Personally, I was expecting a Heaven's Door scenario when Jodio looked at the drawing on Rohan's iPad screen, but it appears so far that that's not the case. Even if he does have Heaven's Door in this universe, and it works similar to how it did when it was introduced in Part 4, he'd have to know an intruder would be coming in to look at it, and be within range, and ready to catch them in the act. So I'm thinking if anything does happen with Heaven's Door, Rohan will be at the same level of mastery that he is in the original universe. There's no point on retreading the same water with his story. After all, which one of these four would even be able to beat the crap out of him like Josuke did? Out of all these fine upstanding citizens, which one would have a beautiful tale to tell about Jodio's past? Something to tug at Rohan's heartstrings and turn him into a good guy, like the rest of them. Oh wait. Yeah, so that ain't happening. And Jodio here certainly isn't helping to prove his ASPD diagnosis wrong. All he cares about is the money. Who cares if he's a famous manga that I really enjoy, right? This dude's rich and was dumb enough to bring a $6 million diamond with him on vacation. He probably deserves it. I'm sure Jodio would consider such an act of stupidity to be a mechanism. Then next we get to see more of the versatility of smooth operators, being able to open doors. I presume this one was locked, otherwise it's not that cool. Anyway, the crew gets inside and Dragona tells them to look over his safe and not to steal anything else. Not because they're honorable thieves trying to do things by the books, but because of airport security. And of course Paco doesn't listen. From there, after a bit of searching around, they end up in what appears to be some sort of chemical extraction room full of volcanic rock. Rocks are strewn all over the floor and are inside flasks and jars. There also appears to be liquid present within some of the jars. Perhaps some sort of solvent is being used to extract minerals from the rocks? Meanwhile, on Jodio's end, he finds pictures of volcanoes and lava, as well as a map on Rohan's iPad, which indicates for some reason that he's interested in them. Usagi then gives a pointless lava lesson, which I hear is a Breaking Bad reference just like in the last chapter. For me, however, this lesson wasn't completely pointless and gave me some ideas on what Rohan's game is, which I'll get into at the end of the video. Aside from that, we learn Rohan's apparently got the same dog that he has in the original universe too. He's definitely not escaping those universal constant allegations, huh? I imagine the only pet pictures he had on there were that of his dog, who was most likely under someone else's care back in Japan, so that makes Jodio question whose cat's been running around. At the same time, Rohan gets out of the pool and heads inside. Jodio then warns everyone to get out. It appears Rohan is going to investigate the cat in particular, which Jodio picks up on based on what Rohan says. Despite the danger of things turning into a robbery, the crew inside chooses to stay put while Dragona works on getting the safe open. Jodio then uses November Rain to distract Rohan. It appears to me that his raindrops are precise enough to grab onto the barbs of the cactus and place one where Rohan goes to grab his tablet. As we've seen previously, Jodio can fine-tune his ability to crush certain things while protecting others, so also being able to change the weight of his raindrops would make sense, and was probably part of the technique in this instance. After all, he didn't crush anything in this shot. From there we get to see the cat head inside the building. Rohan in this moment almost seems to know something is up with the cat. Meanwhile, Dragona is opening the safe with smooth operators. And even though the mechanism inside consists of 5 heavy metal bars, they appear to be just dragging on the pin pad. Maybe it's the case that when it comes to interconnected objects like locks and tumblers, smooth operators only has to pull from the lock's interface, for example the keyhole, doorknob, door handle, pin pad, etc. If the front door from earlier was locked, then that method makes sense, as the same thing was occurring there. Usagi knows the cat is inside, but Paco doesn't think it is a pressing matter. In any case, the safe gets unlocked and they get their diamond, but alongside it is another chunk of lava, which seems strange. Why would a chunk of rock of cooled lava be in the same safe as a $6 million diamond? Could it somehow be just as valuable? I'll try to get into that in just a second. This chapter of course ends on a suspenseful note. Strings start to appear and tighten on Paco's leg and Dragona's arm. One heads for Usagi, but he dodges it, and it appears to float away and is translucent. It appears to be part of the cat's stand ability that it had set up when it went down the hall previously. Why does a cat want to attack them if it's not affiliated with Rohan? Who knows? Is this stray cat meant to be a new universe recreation of Stray Cat from part 4? In any case, due to its use of what appears to be fishing wire, I'm gonna guess its ability is called Catfish Blues. Not based off of any evidence or anything, just, you know, cat plus fish. Last but not least, we see Rohan begin to deduce the situation he's in. After all, his original universe counterpart was featured in the detective picture book. which is a special feature added onto every volume of Detective Conan that features information on a famous detective, as well as a story recommended by the author. So basically, he's ended up becoming the first JoJo character to be widely recognized as a detective, much to my chagrin. He seems pretty close to understanding that there are stands at play here, and it looks like Jodio is able to tell based off what Rohan is saying and the way he's observing things, that he is someone who can see stands. I know you've been waiting for me to get to the speculation part. Now's the time for me to let it all out. What's up with the cat?
That's a weird looking fucking cat!
I'm guessing Bro May sent it somehow to try and cut out the crew as middlemen and retrieve the diamond for herself, perhaps so she can get the whole cut? But I'm not too sure. I mean, the cat did show up at the most opportune time to capture them, as soon as they got the diamond. Just kidding about that. That wasn't what you were really looking for. So like I said earlier, what does volcanic rock, diamonds, and polyhedrons have in common? Well, I decided to do some research because I believe Rohan's obsession with volcanic rock is what led him to finding such a diamond in the first place. Do you recall that polyhedron encyclopedia that was next to Rohan's iPad? It's definitely there for a reason. Generally speaking, natural diamonds take a polyhedral shape, and polyhedrons are three-dimensional shapes with flat polygonal faces, straight edges, and sharp corners. It's a pretty wide definition, so there's a chance that Rohan is using this book to help identify the type of polyhedral shape these diamonds take. He could also be using the book to identify a given shape to cut the raw diamonds into. After all, the diamond of his that the crew is after is most definitely a cut diamond. When it comes to the relationship between diamonds and volcanoes, generally the only type of volcanic eruptions that leave diamonds behind are called Kimberlite eruptions, caused by Kimberlite rocks rapidly ascending to the Earth's surface. The last eruption is said to have occurred more than 25 million years ago. There's the possibility that some sort of phenomenon is causing Kimberlite eruptions to happen in certain volcanoes in Hawaii, as well as Japan, as that seems to be where Rohan brought the diamond from. I mean, Araki has 25 million years of creative freedom to work with for coming up with an explanation if this is indeed the case. Taking a look back at page 52 of chapter 1, we see Jodio running up towards an erupting volcano. In the same panel, he is describing his desire to get rich, how mechanisms appear as forms and shapes, and the fact that he is yet to see the pinnacle of mechanisms. Now consider the fact that all these thoughts that appear to be in the present are shared alongside what is clearly a flash forward together with what we come to know with Rohan's interest regarding volcanoes and lava. Clearly whatever this volcanic activity is, it'll be a part of a mechanism that Jodio is going to use to get rich, which definitely would make sense if said types of diamonds can be sourced from the resulting eruptions. My only question is, if Rohan is indeed extracting diamonds from these rocks, what's up with the chemical lab? Typically the proper method for retrieving diamond from Kimberlite rock is via crushing, and not done chemically. The only idea that I have is that Rohan is examining the chemical composition of the rocks and is using that to somehow determine where the next eruption might occur. This could be what was marked on the map on his iPad as shown earlier. Or he could simply be examining the mineral composition of certain rocks he's gathered from different volcanic eruptions to determine which ones might be diamond bearing, but I don't know for certain. I'm definitely not a scientist, and try as I may, I couldn't find anything on Google involving some sort of process that involves analyzing rocks for the chemistry set, so there's a good chance we're going to have something completely unique here that Araki's cooking up, and I say, we let him cook. Then there's the question, why does Rohan even care? Does he need the money? Is it for something else? Is this all just really some big unnecessary thing he's studying for his manga? Not even I have a prediction for that. Anyway, that's all I've got to say for this video. Feel free to comment your theories down below, I'll definitely be checking them out. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more JoJo chapter reviews, as well as more original content covering the series. Till next time, farewell.